The void of space stretches endlessly, broken only by the metallic husk of Station Aurelia 9. The crew's ship, the Valkyrie, docks with a dull hiss. As the airlock opens, the dim emergency lights flicker like dying stars. Seraph adjusting her visor, scanning the corridor atmosphere stable, but there's something off. It's too quiet. Jace checking his wrist terminal. No life signs, not even residual heat signatures. This place has been dead for years. Captain Reese steps forward, his expression grim as he eyes the vast, hollow corridors ahead. The silence is oppressive, as if the station itself is holding its breath. Captain Reese mutters, "Then why does it feel like we're being watched?" A sudden clatter echoes from deep within the station. The crew tenses. Seraph tightens her grip on her plasma pistol. The lights flicker, briefly revealing shadows shifting in the darkness. Seraph's visor picks up an irregular energy reading, faint but pulsing, like a heartbeat buried deep in the station's core. Seraph whispering, "There's something alive in here, but it's not biological." Jace typing rapidly on his wrist console, eyes narrowing. "I'm detecting an active power source. This place should be dead, but something's keeping the core online." Captain Reese, calm but firm. "Let's find out what." They move cautiously, their boots echoing against the cold metal floor. Ahead, a control panel flickers with ghostly light, ancient warnings flashing in an unreadable script. As Jace reaches out to interface with the terminal, the station shudders, a deep, mechanical groan reverberating through its bones. Somewhere far away, a door hisses open on its own. Jace kneels before the terminal, fingers flying over the console as he cracks through layers of ancient encryption. Jace grinning, old Dominion tech, sloppy encryption. "Let's see what secrets you've got." The screen flickers, data flooding in. Then a log file opens. Log entry 4421, robotic voice playback. This is Overseer Khan. Station Aurelia 9 has been compromised. The research, it was never meant to go this far. The entity is awake. We are abandoning post. Log entry 4422. Repeat, do not activate the core. Knowledge comes at a cost. Do not wake what sleeps. A cold silence falls over the room. The crew exchanges uneasy glances. Then the station's lights surge, flooding the hallways with a sickly red glow. Seraph uneasy, stepping back. They weren't running from an attack, they were running from something inside. Captain Reese grimly, checking his weapon. "Then we need to know what it is." Jace, pull up the last video log. The screen flickers to life, revealing grainy footage. A scientist, face streaked with terror, stares into the camera. Asinist recording, whispering, frantic, "You think you're alone in the dark, until it breathes beside you." Behind him, a shifting, amorphous shadow stretches across the wall. The footage distorts. The screen goes black. Jace snaps the console shut, heart hammering. Then, from the hallway behind them, a faint inhuman whisper slithers through the air. The station shudders violently. Emergency sirens scream to life. Doors slam shut, sealing escape routes. Seraph eyes darting around, gripping her weapon. It knows we're here. Jace checking his terminal, voice strained. "The core, someone reactivated it. I didn't do this." Captain Reese grimly. "Then someone or something else did." A distant thumping begins. Slow, rhythmic, footsteps. No, something bigger. The station's metal hull groans under the weight of its presence. Then the lights cut out. The only illumination comes from their visors' faint glow. A single word flashes across Jace's screen, over and over. "Run." And then, from the abyss behind them, it moves. Title: The Waking Horror. The emergency lights flicker on, casting long, jagged shadows across the walls of Station Aurelia 9. The corridors stretch out, endless and cold. But something is wrong. The metal is not smooth. It is scarred, twisted, and fused with grotesque shapes. Seraph breath-hitching, whispering, "Are those people?" Embedded in the steel walls are distorted humanoid imprints, frozen mid-screen. their faces stretched, limbs fused with the metal, as if they had been absorbed into it. Bolt scanning with his visor, his voice tight. I'm picking up trace biometrics, but they're not alive, and they're not dead either. The station hums softly, almost like a breath. A low vibration courses through the floor, as if something deep within is shifting. Jace pulling up his console. I don't like this. We need answers. Fast. Captain Aris firmly. Then we split up. Drain. Jace, you take the command center. Bolt, Sirif, you work on restoring power. The crew hesitates. Something about this place feels wrong, but they nod, weapons drawn, as they move into the darkness ahead. Bolt runs a deeper scan, his expression hardening. His visor flickers as it picks up something moving, something neither fully organic nor entirely mechanical. Bolt whispering, adjusting his scanner. These life signs, they're distorted, warped, inhuman. Sirif tightening her grip on her rifle. What does that even mean? A faint sound echoes, a wet mechanical chittering. It's distant, but getting closer. Bolt grimly. It means whatever's down here. It's not dead. The shadows ripple. A twisted silhouette jerks forward, its movement unnatural, like a puppet with broken strings. But before Sirif can react, it vanishes. Sirif, low unsettled. We are not alone. The emergency lights flicker again, revealing, for just a split second, something watching them. Then the corridor plunges into darkness. Drain and Jace move toward the command center, their footsteps echoing through the vast emptiness. Bolt and Sirif descend toward the engineering sector, stepping carefully over debris and exposed wires. Jace, checking his data pad. The log should be here. If the Dominion left anything behind, this is where we'll find it. Drain pauses, his reptilian eyes narrowing, as he examines the walls. He runs a clawed hand over the metal. It pulses beneath his touch. Drain, uneasy, whispering, this station is still alive. Meanwhile, Sirif forces open an old maintenance panel, exposing a mess of cables fused with something organic. The tissue pulses, like a vein. Sirif, voice shaking. Bolt, what the hell did they do here? Bolt is silent, his fingers hovering over his scanner. The readings make no sense. The station itself has a pulse. Jace's fingers fly over the console as he breaks into the Dominion archives. Data floods the screen, error messages, corrupted logs, and then a video feed. A scientist appears, disheveled, his eyes sunken with terror. Behind him, something thrashes against its restraints, its asterisk form shifting, twitching, as if it cannot decide what it is. Sirif, dramatist recording frantic, whispering, we were wrong. The fusion process is unstable. They don't die, but they don't remain whole. Their minds, God help us, their minds. The feed cuts to static. Then a single word flashes across the screen. Consumed. Jace, staring at the screen. Cold dread sinking in. Dominion wasn't experimenting with weapons. They were trying to play God. Behind them, a door hisses open on its own. Another log file stands out. Jace hesitates, then plays it. Log entry. Project Ascension. Subject 01 displayed complete assimilation. Memory retention. Unstable. Emotional degradation. Irreversible. Jace, whispering to himself. Subject 01. There was a first. Drain steps forward, his reptilian features tight with unease. He points to the date on the log. It is recent. Too recent. Drain, grimly. Subject 01 is still here. Then the alarm blares. Red emergency lights flash as the station groans, like something waking up. An automated voice crackles over the intercom. Station AI. Distorted. Looping. Unauthorized presence detected. Containment protocol engaged. Bolt, over comms, urgent wasn't us. Something else triggered that alarm. A door slammed shut behind them. The sound of metal screeching echoes through the hall. And then, from the ventilation shaft above, something drops. A mass of twisted metal and flesh, its limbs twitching erratically, crawls forward. It lifts its head, a human face, frozen in a soundless scream. Then it lunges. Drain reacts instinctively, raising his plasma rifle and firing. The blast rips into the creature, but instead of dying, it reforms. Drain staggering back, snarling, "That's not possible." Jace, grabbing Drain, pulling him away. "Move." The creature twists unnaturally, its body jerking as it crawls after them at an inhuman speed. Sparks fly from its mangled metal limbs. They slam into the next room, sealing the door behind them, but the metal bends inward. The creature is forcing its way through. Over the comms, Seraph's voice crackles to life, filled with panic. Seraph, frantic, "Jace, get out of there. The station's systems are compromised. We are not in control anymore." Rising conflict, the unfinished nightmare. Jace's fingers danced over the holographic interface, decrypting layers of corrupted data. Each recovered file painted a clearer picture, a truth so grotesque it turned his stomach. The Dominion had not abandoned the station in defeat. They had fled in terror. Jace swallowed hard. This wasn't a failed experiment. It adapted. Seraph's mechanical optics flickered. Define adapted. Jace exhaled sharply. The organism, or whatever's left of them, kept evolving after the Dominion left. The experiments weren't terminated. They were unfinished. Drain clicked his mandibles, his species' equivalent of an anxious breath. Then what did they become? Jace locked eyes with him. Something worse. The failed and the forsaken. The corridor reeked of decay and rust. Figures, half human, half machine, twitched in the dim emergency lighting. Some were motionless, their bodies fused with the walls. Others shambled aimlessly, eyes empty, mouths whispering incoherent pleas. Bolt scanned them. No viable neural activity. They're gone. A rasping voice, barely human, whispered from the darkness. "Please, end it." Seraph stepped forward but hesitated. Jace clenched his fists. "They're not alive, but they're not dead either." Drin placed a clawed hand on Jace's shoulder. "We cannot save them." Jace forced himself to turn away. The Dominion had played God and abandoned its creations. And now, those creations were pleading for release. A station turned prison. The security drones had not fired a single shot at them. That alone set Jace's nerves on edge. The Dominion's AI-controlled defense systems were ruthless, programmed to eliminate intruders without question. But these machines weren't fighting them. They were reinforcing blast doors, rerouting power to containment fields, sealing corridors behind them. Seraph, processors hummed. Security protocols suggest defensive containment, not offensive action. Drin's mandibles twitched. Then what exactly are they trying to keep inside? Jace's pulse quickened. "We're not in danger because of the station itself." He turned, scanning the reinforced doors. "The danger is what's still here." Whispers of betrayal. Drin's sharp gaze followed Jace as he worked. There was hesitation, small, almost imperceptible, but unmistakable. Jace knew something he wasn't sharing. Rin's voice was low. "You've read something you don't want to tell us." Jace froze for a moment before shaking his head. "Now's not the time. Now is exactly the time." Drin's claws flexed. "I know fear when I see it, human. Whatever you know, it changes things." Jace exhaled. "We need to keep moving." Drin didn't push further, but his suspicions were now a weight between them, and Jace knew he wouldn't let it go. A trail of ruined blood, oil, shattered plating. The deeper they went, the worse the carnage became. The station had seen battle, not between soldiers, but between something neither fully human nor machine. The bodies, if they could still be called that, bore signs of both organic and synthetic mutilation. Seraph examined a body. Nanite degradation consistent with forced assimilation. Bolt's voice was grim. Whatever did this, it didn't just kill them. It tried to make them one of its own. Jace clenched his jaw, and it failed. Drin hissed, which means it tried again. The shattered containment. The central lab doors hissed open, revealing a shattered containment pod at the center of the room. Thick cables hung like torn arteries, their severed ends still sparking. Whatever had been inside had escaped. Jace's eyes locked onto the Dominion's insignia burned into the metal beside the pod. There was no name, only a designation, subject-01.Serif, ran a scan. No residual organic traces. This was recent. Drin took a step forward. If it's out, where is it now? The lights flickered. The station trembled. Jace's voice was barely above a whisper. Hunting, the name they shouldn't have known. The logs were encrypted, but Jace was relentless. He bypassed the Dominion's security layers until a single name appeared in the file header. He felt the blood drain from his face. Elias Ford. Rin narrowed his eyes. Who is that? Jace barely found his voice. He was a war hero, one of the best human soldiers to ever live. He went missing over a decade ago. Drin frowned. And now he is. Jace swallowed hard. Still here. The logs confirmed the impossible. Elias Ford was subject 01, and he had not died. The hunter has found them. The distant sound of metal scraping against metal sent a shiver down Jace's spine. Rin.S head snapped toward the sound. We're not alone. The lights flickered again. A shadow moved. Too fast, too fluid. The security system screamed to life, but they weren't attacking. They were trying to stop something from getting through. A voice, distorted and hollow, echoed through the comms. I remember you. Jace's breath hitched. That voice was human, but not quite. The station system surged. Lights cut out. Emergency power flickered on. Then in the dim red glow, something stepped forward. Half human, half machine, twisted beyond recognition. And it was looking right at them. The crew stood at the threshold of the hangar, their breath coming in sharp gasps. The air was thick with the scent of scorched metal, and something far worse, something organic rotting. The massive doors, their only path to escape, loomed before them, sealed tight. The station's flickering emergency lights painted grotesque shadows across the walls. Serif.S fingers danced across her datapad, trying to override the lockdown. This isn't right, she whispered. Something's controlling the system. Jace clenched his fists, scanning the darkness. We're not alone. Then the intercom crackled to life. A voice, distorted, layered with static and something unnatural, spoke from the station's speakers. You should not have come here. The lights above them pulsed like a heartbeat. The voice grew stronger, familiar yet warped. Jace, Drin, Bolt, Serif. The crew froze. It knew their names. Serif swallowed hard. How does it? I remember. The voice was layered, human, yet metallic, agonized. I remember everything. Jace's throat went dry. Vorn. The realization hit like a hammer. Elias Vorn, the war hero. The Dominion's failed experiment. The thing that should not be. From the far end of the hangar, footsteps echoed, slow, heavy, relentless. Then he emerged from the shadows. Elias Vorn stepped into the flickering light, a horrifying fusion of flesh and steel. His body, once human, was now a twisted amalgamation of synthetic plating, exposed muscle, and grotesque cybernetic enhancements. His face, or what remained of it, was a battlefield of scars and metal grafts, one eye glowing in eerie crimson. But the worst part wasn't how he looked. It was his eyes, the sheer pain in them. Jace took a step forward, his voice barely above a whisper. Vorn, what did they do to you? Vorn's fingers flexed, metal grinding against metal. They made me into what they feared most, and then they abandoned me. Drin tightened his grip on his plasma rifle. We need to get past him. Vorn's lips curled into something resembling a grin. Then try. Drin was the first to charge, his blade humming with energy. He swung hard, aiming for Vorn's side. The strike landed, but Vorn barely flinched. A massive hand shot out, grabbing Drin by the throat and slamming him into the floor. Bolt, analytical voice rang out. Weak points detected. Joints, neural ports. Aim for the Vorn moved too fast. A blur of steel and fury. He grabbed Bolt and hurled him across the room. Sparks flew as the engineer crashed into a console. Seraph fired her plasma rifle, bolts of energy searing against Vorn's armor. He staggered, but didn't fall. Jace clenched his fists. There's got to be a way to stop him. Vorn's head snapped toward him. You still don't understand. Vorn advanced, but Jace didn't raise his weapon. He took a deep breath and met the creature's gaze. You remember, don't you? Jace said. You're not just a machine. You're still Elias Vorn. Vorn hesitated. Tell me, what was your last mission? Jace pressed. Who did you fight for? A flicker of something passed through Vorn's eye. Pain, confusion, humanity. I was a soldier, Vorn rasped. I fought for. The red glow in his eye flared violently. His body twitched as if battling unseen forces. No more voices in my head. No more lies. He roared and lunged. Rin pushed himself up, wiping blood from his mouth. We can't reason with him, Jace. Jace's hands shook. He's still in there. Seraph's voice was cold. We don't have time for this. Vorn staggered, his massive form trembling. Make it stop, please. Bolt's voice was steady. 2 options. Put him down, or let him live and risk him tearing through the galaxy. Jace's heart pounded. Kill a man who had already suffered enough, or unleash something the Dominion feared even more. Vorn raised his head. I will decide. Then he turned toward the control panel. Vorn slammed his fist into the console. Alarms blared. Red lights bathed the hangar. Self-destruct activated. T-5 minutes. Jace's eyes widened. Vorn, what are you? Vorn's lips curled into something tragic. Ending this. Seraph cursed. We need to move now. Drin grabbed Bolt, dragging him to his feet. The crew sprinted for the emergency shuttle. Jace turned back. Vorn, come with us. Vorn stood still, watching them. I was dead a long time ago, kid. The doors sealed shut. The shuttle launched just as Aurelia 9 began to tear itself apart. Fire and debris swallowed the station, a final grave for the Dominion's sins. Jace stared out the viewport, his throat tight. He didn't have to die. Drin exhaled, his voice softer than usual. Maybe he wanted to. Seraph checked the nav system, plotting course. No turning back now. Bolt's voice was solemn. One last question remains. Jace turned. What? Bolt's optics dimmed. If the Dominion did this to him, how many more are out there? Silence fell over the crew as they drifted into the void, the weight of their discovery pressing heavy on their souls. Jace sat hunched over a battered terminal, fingers flying across the interface as he sorted through the stolen Dominion data. The ship's lights flickered, the damage from their escape still evident in the groaning metal around them. The files were encrypted, layered with firewalls designed to self-destruct upon unauthorized access, but he had seen this type of code before. It was old Dominion tech, predictable, if ruthless. As he bypassed the final security layer, the screen flooded with thousands of classified reports, experiment logs, and high-priority transmissions. His eyes scanned the data, locking onto key phrases: biomechanical evolution, contingency war doctrine, and subject 01 viability. The deeper he dug, the more the truth took shape. Vorn wasn't an isolated experiment. He was a prototype. There were others. Jace swallowed hard. The Dominion had no intention of stopping at one failed soldier. Aurelia 9 had been one of many facilities, and somewhere out there, the real nightmare was still unfolding. Quote, Rin loomed behind Jace, arms crossed, his golden eyes narrowed. You knew, didn't you? Jace didn't look up. The silence stretched between them, thick with unspoken accusations. He had suspected something was off when they first set foot on Aurelia 9. The station's defenses weren't designed to keep people out. They were meant to keep something in. And yet, he had said nothing. How much did you know? Durin pressed, his voice low and sharp. Jace exhaled, rubbing a hand over his face. Enough to be afraid, not enough to stop it. Durin's mandibles clicked in frustration, but he didn't push further. The truth was already laid bare in the wreckage of the station. Jace had gambled with their lives. and the Dominion's secrets had almost swallowed them whole. Seraph, quote, Os voice crackled over the comms, tense and urgent. Dominion forces inbound, ETA, 15 minutes. We need to move. Jace cursed under his breath, pushing away from the terminal. They had lingered too long. The Dominion didn't leave loose ends, and their survival was an open wound in the Empire's pride. Options, Bolt asked, already recalibrating the ship's jump drive. None that don't end with us as smoldering debris. Seraph shot back. Unless you've got a miracle up your sleeve. Jace hesitated. There was one, a back door he had found in the Dominion security network. An override meant for high-ranking officials. If he could hijack one of their battlecruiser systems, even for a few seconds, they could punch a hole through their blockade. But it would mean exposing themselves further. A risk too great. Do it, Jiren said. We don't have time for fear. As the ship powered up, Bolt's voice cut through the tension. You need to hear this. A distorted transmission played over the ship's speakers. Vorn's voice, fragmented but unmistakable. They're not ready, not yet, but when they wake, you won't survive. None of us will. Static crackled, then a final chilling message. Find them before they find you. Jace felt his stomach knot. Vorn had known something worse than the experiments, worse than the Dominion itself. If the message was right, the Dominion wasn't the greatest threat in the galaxy. They were just the first ones who had tried and failed to control it. Seraph, quote, S fingers hovered over the thrusters. We running, or are we chasing ghosts now? Jace made his choice. Both. Jace's fingers trembled as he decrypted the last set of files. The data wasn't just about bioweapons or cybernetic enhancements. It was about something older. Buried transmissions from deep space probes, readings of unknown anomalies, encounters with entities that defied all logic. The Dominion hadn't been creating new weapons. They had been trying to mimic something ancient, something they had barely begun to understand. Every failed experiment, every horror locked away in stations like Aurelia 9 had been their desperate attempt to prepare. They weren't building soldiers, Jace whispered. They were making defenses. Jiren's gaze darkened. Against what? Jace stared at the final, chilling entry in the logs. Designation, Revenant class. Status, uncontained. The ship shot forward, stars streaking past as they fled the Dominion's grasp. But for Jace, escape meant nothing. Not when he now understood what the Dominion had feared. Seraph monitored the scanners. We're clear, no pursuers. Bolt's mechanical voice hummed. Not yet. Jace gripped the armrest, staring into the void ahead. Somewhere, in the uncharted depths of space, something was stirring. The Dominion had tried to stop it. They had failed. And now, the crew of the Halcyon was the only force left that knew the truth. The darkness wasn't just coming. It was already here. The room was bathed in dim, sterile light. Monitors lined the walls, casting eerie reflections against the cold metal. A lone scientist sat at the central console, fingers hovering over the keys as lines of data streamed in from the ruins of Aurelia 9. The numbers told a story of destruction, of secrets torn from the grave. His breath was steady, his expression unreadable. This was expected. No experiment remained buried forever. Behind him, in the shrouded corner of the observation deck, a figure stood motionless. Cloaked in shadows, they watched in silence as the scientist worked. The only movement was the slow, deliberate shifting of weight, like a predator waiting for its moment. A new data stream flickered across the screen. A transmission, faint, broken, but undeniable. They had survived. And they had seen too much. The scientist swallowed hard as the voice slithered from the darkness, cold and measured. They know too much. It wasn't a question, it was a verdict. The scientist hesitated, fingers twitching over the console. A denial would be meaningless. He knew better. A pause stretched between them. The silence carried weight, an unspoken promise of consequences yet to unfold. Then the voice continued, softer now, almost amused. They think they can run. The scientist's throat went dry. A single keystroke sent the message across the Dominion's encrypted channels. Targets identified. Status: active threat. Termination order confirmed. No more discussion. No more delay. A dozen warships received the order simultaneously, captains straightening in their seats. As the words blinked across their screens, eliminate them. Across the Dominion fleet, engines roared to life, weapons systems locked onto their quarry. The hunt had begun. Jace barely had time to sit before the alarm. Klaxon screamed to life. Red lights pulsed through the corridors of the Wanderer, and Seraph's voice crackled over the intercom. We've got incoming. Dominion ships fast movers. Jace bolted upright. Jurin stormed onto the bridge, mandibles clicking in agitation. Bolt's optics flared, scanning the rapidly approaching fleet. How? Jace demanded. We scrubbed our trail. We should be. They found us. Seraph cut in. And they're not here to talk. Outside, the void shimmered with the arrival of warships. The stars outside twisted as the Wanderer's thrusters ignited. Hold on, Seraph shouted, wrenching the controls. The ship lurched forward, narrowly dodging the first plasma barrage. The Dominion fleet was gaining. Jace clenched his fists. No more hiding, no more running. They were in the fight now. The Dominion commander watched the chase unfold from his flagship, his lips curling into a faint smile. They think they're clever, he murmured. They think they have time. A transmission pulsed through the fleet's command network, a message that would chase them to the ends of the galaxy. They are awake.